So BTC is trading at 83K, and we're actually in what everyone is calling hell week. Is this the week where the market absolutely collapses and we get smashed, or is this all a false alarm and we're going to pump? So today we're looking at this type of information, guys. We're going to tackle this market. I've got tons of else. Obviously, I've got my trading plan for you on BTC. Loads of other things happening here. So much to talk about. Let's get right into it. And remember, as always, hit the like, hit the bell, hit the subscribe. I come to you Monday to Friday on Banter Plus, bringing you this type of trading content. If you're enjoying it, obviously, you know what to do. Make sure you are subscribed as well. And I see John's in the chat talking about the 20% Club. We'll talk about that in a second, because I've got the 20% Club founder over here, and he's got 3 trades for you today that he's bringing in hot. We'll bring him in shortly. James is actually missing today. Okay, but he's coming back. He'll be back tomorrow. Okay, let's go. Banter Bubbles, what is happening? TON, it's showing extreme strength. Now, I told you guys last week I had to cut that TON short. This thing was unnaturally strong, and the market fell over completely. We saw everything getting wiped out, but TON was just absolutely holding and actually spiked through a couple of areas. Now, you see, we can see a couple of green shoots at the moment in the market. We have noticed 2-hour reversals on our oscillator. We can see those 4 hours might be printing some short-term bullish divergence as well. So things are looking a little bit more exciting. Now, hype is pumping 4% at the moment off a nice level, and unfortunately, I missed that one, and I'm kicking myself for it because I opted for 𝗬𝗰 and 𝗀, which are moving at the moment, but that hype is really looking good. So we are going to talk about hype as well, and let's get right into BTC, and let's see what they're doing to us right now. And is this an absolute trap that we are falling for, even if it's a short-term trap potentially? So in terms of what we're looking at the moment, this is BTC on the 2-hour, and you can see a couple of interesting things for me to the downside. We could see this morning that we were going to get some kind of reversal. We had our double bullish divergence print here on BTC. We had our blue reversal dot. We had our green reversal print as well. So there were multiple signs that BTC was going to give us some kind of move. Now, obviously, we'd like to see a little bit bigger than what we are currently getting blessed with. But in terms of the oscillator, the signs were there. And then just something so beautiful for the FIB traders out there. Look at that 618 for BTC coming into play once again. Now, remember, BTC rejected off a 618 right here as well at the highs, and now it's dropped back and it's bounced off a 618, keeping the TA super simple and super basic here for us, relying on a 618 and the reversal print on the oscillator for a short-term little BTC move. So what am I looking for now on the short term? Well, 81,000, you can see this is our line in the sand now. This is going to be our support marker that we can use for now. And then in terms of upside danger zones, for me, I have marked them on the charts. This was in my morning update for the hackers. This is 84,000. You can see we are rejecting at 84,000 right now as we speak, and a little bit higher we got 85,800. Call it 86K. Now this is a problem area for me. This is the 200-day moving average in the way. We can also see our 618. Now that would be a third 618 reaction for BTC if we do hit that, guys. So 86K problem zone for me. And then if we do pump higher, well, I'm going to show you something very interesting here, and this is why I think we could potentially go a little bit higher. Look at this liquidation heat map on the 1-week chart here. Look at all this liquidity to the upside. Everything seems to be wiped out to the downside at the moment on the 1-week liquidation heat map. If we look to the upside here, look at this band here, 86K. We've just spoken about that region. Then look at the highs, 87,900 to about 89,380. So much liquidity in that region, and that is from this whole weekend getting sold off and sold off and sold off. As you guys might have noticed, everything from Wednesday was basically an absolute shit show. And Tony says, we hackers won't get bullied out, correct, because we short that shit when we need to. Okay, I see Chaos is nodding frantically in the back because he concurs with that current statement. Yeah, so the hackers guys, they're solid. Okay, the hackers guys are solid. Very happy with that team, by the way. Those guys are absolutely smashing it. Guys, don't forget, hit the likes here. Hit the likes for Chaos. He's bringing you 3 potential setups. One of them is 𝗏𝗏𝗀 Tower, and I might be taking that live with you guys. So just make sure you're doing what you need to do there. Okay, let's go. So upside zone you've got in play. You can see my liquidity to the upside. Why is that zone so important to us? Well, we've got a VWAP from the highs there as well. We've got our 50-day MA. We've got the previous 618. We know this is a daily trend as well. Is there anything else we need to tell us that that is an absolute war zone to the upside there? So just be super careful. Obviously, if we do pump into that type of area, I don't think it's going to be a free ride through that unless Uncle Donald comes and says something ridiculously dovish or, you know, pumpish for the market. So that is kind of what we're going to look for. And then in terms of one more level lower, guys, if we do get weakness now in the next 24 hours, I've just kept a simple TA zone here, 79,250. Just watch that. It's a 786, tried in with a wick fill as well on that region. So not expecting much lower than that in the next 24 hours. Now, we're going to get into a couple of bits of news because it's an important week for us because it's D-Day or what is he calling it? Liberation Day from Uncle Donald. He's basically dishing out reciprocal tariffs and all these types of things. So I am running a poll at the moment in the chat. So make sure you answer that poll for me. And I just want to get a feel for the sentiment at the moment out there. I want to see if you guys are overly bullish or overly bearish. Now, in terms of guys getting wrecked, well, here's the 24-hour wreck. We'll call it the wreck map, the 24-hour wreck map. You can see 327. Oh, I've lost my screen. What happened? What happened? I lost my screen there. We can see 327 million worth of liquidations at the moment. Let's see if we can get the screen back there. There it is. 327 million worth of liquidations in the last 24 hours. So things are looking slightly tougher there for the traders. We had a couple of days there where we were getting 100 million and everyone was feeling relaxed, but now that is starting to push up. So this is basically giving us these types of feels at the moment here where, oh, Sheba's talking about bangers as well. I always say sometimes when you need a bounce, you got to turn to something. Sometimes you got to even turn to religion if you got to get that bounce. But I see the chart hackers here. Look at us. They're saying fat TA. We're in cult mode now. We're praying for some action here. So make sure you're following the chart hackers on Twitter as well. We're dropping alpha. We're dropping fun shit there for you guys. So this is what it's all about. Uncle Donald, is he Salt Bay or is he Market Bay? What is he doing here? He's basically rinsing us once again. And I mean, the guys are salty because they really wanted Uncle Donald in and we got the pump and now he's doing pretty much what he said he was going to do and now everyone's unhappy about it. So go figure, okay? But just a little bit of bull source for you guys. April is historically the second best month for crypto. Now, brace for April 2nd, says Melinda. But Melinda, look at this. The second best month historically for crypto is April. Is it possible that Donald can really wreck April, or have we sold off enough that April can give us the move that we are looking for? So let's start. Why is Uncle Donald so upset at the moment? So firstly, he's fighting with Uncle Vlad here in Russia. He says he's very angry and a president said, I'm pissed off. Okay, literally the president is saying he's pissed off. Chaos, can you handle this type of language? If Russia and I are able to make a deal on stopping the bloodshed in Ukraine, and if I think it was Russia's fault, which it might not be, okay, that's a little exit there for him, but if I think it was Russia's fault, I'm going to put secondary tariffs on oil, on all oil coming out of Russia. Okay, so Uncle Donald is pissed off. Okay, so that's obviously a potential market mover that can obviously cause a couple of problems for us. Now, what is the other big news? Well, it's the reciprocal tariffs are going to get imposed on all countries, is what basically is what's going on. So the 𝗘𝗍𝗄 letter is going to tell you, they're going to give you a little bit of thread here, but they're saying it's officially reciprocal tariff week. President Trump has called on Wednesday Liberation Day, with 20% tariffs coming on up to 25 countries. UF tariffs will impact $1.5 trillion worth of imports by the end of April. Is this bullish? I mean, I don't know. Let's see what you guys are telling me in the chats here. Let's see. Let's take a look at our current poll. So April 2nd, the market's dumped. So 60% of you are saying the market's going to dump on April 2nd. I'm not convinced. I believe the market has been selling off in anticipation of all of this drama. And I think, if anything, I think that's going to be the bottom, for a short-term bottom at least. And we're going to get a nice little bounce out of that. Now, before we get into that and the order of events, because, today might surprise us and pump. So I'm going to give you my strategy today. And we're going to bring Chaos on as well. We're going to talk about that in a couple of secs. But yeah, 60% saying dumping. I'm leaning a little bit more pumpy on the situation. So if you want to read about what the 𝗘𝗶𝗃 letter have to say, they are explaining this whole thing with Trump. You can follow them as well on Twitter and or on X, and you can take a look at what is going on about Liberation Day. But in terms of liberating my BTCC trading account, well, I went long in my long zone on the S&P. And we earmarked this second 618 bounce, 5,500. That was going to be a bounce zone for us. We looked at that last week. So now we've dropped into this little pocket over here, and we're getting a nice little bounce on the S&P. So I'm long the S&P. And in terms of other levels of interest for me, it's 5,400. I've marked that one there, and it's 5,330. for the S&P. But so far, it is actually playing according to plan. What did we say? We said a sell-off. We were looking for a dead cat bounce into one of our zones, and now we've got our rejection. So what am I expecting now? Nothing too serious, probably a lower high, and then a little bit more downside potentially before a beautiful move. That would be a nice little game plan there on the S&P. But so far, just respecting some basic TA, the 200-day MA, we've got the 618 coming into play, just a little bit of ping pong in some hot zones there for us, and keeping it really as simple as possible. Now, you know that we've been bringing you tons of stocks over the last while, and I thought let's catch up on a couple because Meta, for example, has hit one of my limit buy orders that I set 2 weeks ago when we were long Meta on that last little pump. So that was one of the extra orders that we had there. So bar chart says Magnificent 7 stocks now trade at their cheapest valuation premiums relative to the rest of the S&P in more than 6 years. So we know that they are taking a little bit of pain. And I think one of the key markers is this NVIDIA chart. And as you guys know, if you traded this with me last week, we are still short NVIDIA. And always nice when you wake up or you come, you open your charts on a Monday and you can see the S&P or one of your tokens as gapped down. That's always a nice feeling, or gapped up if you're long. But I mean, we obviously sitting short on NVIDIA, so a gap down always gets me a little bit excited. And yeah, I'm looking for my next long is going to be at this 95 to 92 region on NVIDIA. So short is in play. Anyone who's short with me on NVIDIA, the options are, well, you can take profit now if you want to. Let's just look at the size of the move. And when do we got it somewhere around there. So the size of the move is about 10%. Not bad. Okay, 10% move on NVIDIA short. That's quite nice. If we do go the whole hog, it's a 20% move. And then for me, the next long on NVIDIA, 95 to 92. So going to keep it super simple. And we're going to look for about a 10 or 15% bounce there on NVIDIA. So far, so good. That short is playing out pretty nicely. And then here's my current spread. So you can see that Meta buy order that we set previously, that has now picked up. You can see we are long Meta. That thing is starting to move. S&P 500, I bought 5 S&Ps here on BTCC. So that is now nice and green. And then NVIDIA, obviously, we're holding that short at the moment. So I'm expecting, I'm not expecting NVIDIA to pump back to my entry. If it does, it's going to be tricky. I think that we're going to get that full move on NVIDIA down to 100, down to 95, somewhere in that type of region. So this is my current spread on BTCC. Remember, guys, we've got a tournament coming in the next couple of days. So join and sign up on BTCC with me and come and trade these stocks. And we can also obviously long the S&P, and we can play with gold as well and stuff like that. So come and join my BTCC trading competition. All you do is go into the show description, click on more, and it's right there for you guys. You can just sign up there to BTCC and come and join me. Let's trade some stocks together. Obviously, the hackers guys, I've got my stocks channel in there, and we are active. We are active with that stocks channel. There it is. There it is. Okay, there's our stocks channel that I've got going on there at the moment in chart hackers. Okay, so let's talk Meta. Why did I leave that entry there? Well, number one, I suspected at some point we were going to come and test these horizontals. So again, this might not be the bottom for me on Meta, but anybody interested in Meta, I've got another order waiting, 540. So if we do drop into that zone, I am looking for a nice strong bounce there. So first order picked up here, I think it was 556. The next one is waiting at 540, and Mr. 𝗙𝗆, he's calling me the hacker bully. Yeah, I like this guy. So in terms of Meta, 550 and 540, those are my bounce zones. Looking for something out of this. Again, we're not trying to shoot the lights out. We can just play these things to horizontals. You can see at the moment we've lost the 200-day MA, so we could be moving into a rejection zone right now, and they just send us a little bit lower. So obviously, playing these things relatively tentatively. We're not taking massive size on these positions, and we're just playing the game. We're just accumulating here and seeing if we can get some action on what is going on. Okay, let's get into a couple of things now, guys. We're going to jump into BTC. We're going to jump into BTC on the daily, on the weekly. I'm going to give you my charts. Then we're looking at ETH. We're looking at SOL. We're looking at a couple of degen plays that I've got for you guys that could be playing out today if we get a short-term bounce. Okay, so I just want to remind you guys that tomorrow is my workshop for my Xcelerator course, and that is in 21 hours from now. So if you're wondering how I knew to short NVIDIA, how I knew to long the S&P so far, what you've seen, and obviously we're going to go through a lot of these altcoins and things at the moment. This is where you're going to learn how to do these things. This is where you're going to work out these reaction zones, these hot zones that I always talk about. And in this course, you're going to watch some very short, concise videos that are going to explain very basic TA that's going to tie in really nicely with those indicators that you see me using, the quantum reactor, the order blocks, the oscillators, all those other fun things that you see on my charts are going to be explained very clearly to you in the course. And I've got something else for that workshop for you guys tomorrow. Is I'm going to teach you guys a strategy that I've used to unlock these Bitfunded trading accounts. Now remember, Bitfunded is prop funded, so they send you demo accounts that you pay for, and then if you pass the demo accounts, they send you real money accounts. So as you can see here, I've got 2 real money accounts on Bitfunded that I've passed, and I'm going to show you my strategy as to how I went about doing that, and I'm going to teach that in my workshop tomorrow for that Xcelerator school. So make sure you guys are joining. Your time is 21 hours left here, guys, so make sure you are signed up. We obviously are going to give away a couple of Bitfundeds tomorrow on the workshop as well. So if you want to learn that strategy, you want a chance to win some Bitfunded as well, make sure you are signed up, make sure you are attending that workshop tomorrow. And remember, this course is not going to be free till the end of time. This is actually it's a course that's going to move into a fully paid system at some point, so make sure you take advantage now while you still can. Okay, let's go. Let's talk BTC weekly. And Chaos, how are you doing at the back there? Are you okay there?
All good, bro. Okay? All good, man. Okay,
yeah. Guys, can we get some more likes? Because Chaos has got 3 setups for you guys coming in hot. Okay, he's bringing it strong. Okay, he's bringing him strong. Monitor those likes there, sir. Okay, let's go. BTC on the weekly. This is the bear case and no reason to change our bear case. And in fact, we could argue, looking at this chart, that our lower high has been put in place now for BTC, and this is merely the start of this move now to this downside. Okay, so that is, no changes for me on my overall situation for BTC. Now, the interesting thing comes into play today, and that's the question is, if we pump today, does that open up? What is today? The 31st. Okay, so if we pump today, does this open up massive shorts for us leading into April the 2nd? So a nice little second sell-off into April the 2nd and then some kind of buy. That is the question I'm asking. And looking at this BTC, I just want to go back to this 2-hour chart again and say, is this an invitation on a bullish Monday? Now, you guys know DJ Dave from Hackers loves a bullish Monday because that tees up shorts, and he loves a bearish Monday because that tees up longs. And if we get a bullish Monday today, is that going to tee us up for a big dump into this April Liberation Day from Uncle Donald, and then a reload into something lower down? Are we going to get something like that out of this move? Because I genuinely think that this April 2nd should be sold off enough that we're going to get some type of pump. So watching keenly today as to what happens. And now obviously some of these longs that we're going to give you at the moment are subject to a little pump today and then maybe a quick rejection tomorrow. So just to finish BTC on the weekly, you can see the bear play is in play at the moment, and there are no changes to this current situation. I still think we are going to get some longs on BTC at some point between 73 and 70K. I do think it's inevitable that we get there, but it might take time. It could take a month or two before we hit that type of level. So just watching that one super closely. And then in terms of the daily chart on BTC, I just want to show you guys, because this thing really, again, basic TA, just playing out for us. Nothing complicated here. We tracked this bear flag last week. Look at that beautiful bear flag. What did we do? We rejected at a 618. and 50-day moving average, as well as the trend. What happens? It falls over. What does it do today? Bounces off a 618. So keeping it really simple here on BTC. And, right now, again, it's a short-term bounce land, okay? Short-term bounce. Looking at something like that potentially on the daily for us, and that could tee us up nicely leading into this April 2nd, maybe towards the end of the week, and we have an absolute ripper in terms of the market. Now, Metal Tord, I always get this guy's name wrong. Metal Tord. He's a shark. He's a proper shark, this guy. He says send it. Now, hopefully we're not going to send dominance, bro, because here's the current dominance problem. Now, I don't want to signal alarm bells, because this is not a good thing for us. And remember the dominance rules. This is dominance on the daily. The rules of Bitcoin dominance are, if dominance is pumping and Bitcoin is going up, we actually okay. We can be a little bit relaxed, but we can't be too chilled, because we know that if Bitcoin reverses, then we get smashed. But pumping Bitcoin and moving up dominance is okay for the altcoins. It's not the best, but it's okay. The problem comes if Bitcoin rejects, and this dominance now, which is broken, major daily horizontal. If this dominance starts ripping now and Bitcoin is flat or falling over, these alts are in big shit. These alts are going to feel loads of pain. Okay, so I just want to point that out here, guys. If there was ever a time to pay attention to dominance, it's now that we've broken this major daily horizontal level. Okay, so you can see what's going on. Yeah, I've said this wick fill could be dangerous for alts. Now, the problem is this is a huge wick. And we don't know where they're going to end this wick, but typically, you're probably going to take out half of that wick, give or take, at least. So we need to see what happens, at what point this rejects on dominance. So it's going to be interesting, because I do believe if we get a nice rejection at some point on dominance, it's going to be great. But what they have offered us as altcoin traders now, and this is the secret, maybe this give you an edge over some other altcoin traders. If this dominance pumps, okay, what we do know is if your alts get hurt, whatever the story, at some point, dominance is going to fall over. Now, when dominance gets back onto that zone, that is where you're going to look to take profits. That is where you're going to start laddering out of your positions. Maybe this is the type of zone you start looking for hedge shorts and things like that on some of your altcoins, because you probably are going to get some kind of bounce again on dominance there. And that might, for example, be when Bitcoin is falling over. So that is where you can get a lot of trouble on some of your altcoins. So in terms of that level, guys, 62%, watch that. That is our new support zone that we're going to be paying attention to. And once we do get a move back into that area, that is where we start being cautious with our altcoins. Okay, so keeping it really simple there in terms of how we go about doing those things. Now, let's talk about my favorite meme coin, ETH, and I think it's Chaos's favorite as well. I think you like
one of
absolute coin, absolute coin. Breaking FTX start repaying today. If you have one BTC, you'll get 18K, price in 22. If you have one SOL, you'll get 15. Me with ETH and FTX is still get my full 1700. Nothing has changed. Look at that. SOL was $15 back then. ETH 1700. No changes. I suppose that's a solid stable coin. I don't know, yeah. Chaos.
You'd be wrecked if you're in SOL fully, wouldn't you? You'd be sad.
Look at this. ETH is sad, but to be fair, this has now started. The first move of my bear case on ETH has actually triggered. That 2,100 was the short zone as zone number 1, so that is now triggered. My next long zone for ETH, 1.5 to 1.6. Now, short-term bounce, maybe. Do we take out 2.1? I don't think so. I think 2.1 is now our new high for ETH. I think if anything, they come and fill that wick potentially. So my game plan for ETH, Chaos, 1.5, 1.6, somewhere around there. I'm not expecting higher. How do you feel about that?
I hope it doesn't happen, if I'm honest. But if it does, I will be buying.
1.5, 1.6.
Yeah, I'll be buying. Because you know that ETH will go up again. I don't want to see $15 SOL again, though. Thank you very much.
No, fuck no. What about the ETH Foundation liquidation level at 1,100?
Yeah, they'll deal with that surely. As we get close, I'm sure they'll be dealing with that. You'd expect.
Really?
Yeah. Would you not think? Well, you would hope, right?
Well, this is what happened last time, guys. So last time, I had a super high conviction play for ETH here. And I sat in this thing and wallowed in red for how long? Okay. And I eventually had to exit on that bounce. Okay. So look, super high conviction play at ETH, 1516. Hopefully we're not making the same mistake and they actually do send it to the liquidation level of the ETH Foundation. But I'm going to have a crack. 1516, we're going to go in hard again, and we're going to see if we get that bounce. So I think it's a matter of time now for ETH. Let it play out. I'm not convinced that that was the bottom, for example, that this thing rips from here. So yeah, going to keep my ETH short in play until we hit that 1516. In fact, I got a TP at 1601. At the moment for ETH. So let's see how that goes. Now, let's talk a couple of short-term bounce situations. Now, let's just explain to the guys what's going on. So we know this week's been pretty bearish. We know we've been selling since Tuesday, Wednesday. The market's been rough. What happens after major sell-offs is occasionally you get a short-term little bounce. They rinse out the bears, they clean out some of the shorts, and you can still have a bearish bias. So some of the stuff I'm going to show you today is some short-term moves that could potentially play out. Obviously, your job is to manage your risk, manage your leverage, and manage your conviction. You know, you got to play this carefully now. And so I'm going to give you these setups. And again, you know, you pushing your buttons and you got to look after yourself. Chaos is bringing you 2 or 3 trades as well. And I'm going to take one of them live. So let's crack on. Okay, let's go. So in terms of SOL, just a quick overview. SOL on the weekly. Now, I've just spoken about ETH, 2,100 triggering my bear case on ETH. Now, we have a similar situation on Solana. Has the bear case been triggered on SOL with that rejection at the 50-day moving average? If that is the case, that this bear case has been triggered, the next natural move for me on SOL is going to be some kind of dip lower down. So what you might see, for example, is a short-term push-up, fill the wicks up here, then they start this move down, then we get that little bearish retest, and then a dip lower into the 80s. So that is my current strategy on ETH. That is my current strategy on SOL. I'm happy to be proven wrong, but so far the strategy has been playing out, and that is phase 1 complete. Now, if phase 2 is going to be this loss of 110 on SOL, pump back, and then maybe that big move lower down. So just doing that. PMG George says, managing leverage, manage trades, manage your dinglings, or it gets cut off. I concur. I absolutely concur with that statement. So with that in mind, folks, okay, here is your first short-term banger play on SOL. Okay, now that you understand your risks involved and also understand that we're not looking for major moves here on Solana, what I've got on the 2-hour, look at that divergence, double divergence print as well. This oscillator is turning up. The cash flow is starting to lean a little bit to the upside. So potential short-term move on Solana. And I dropped this one in Chart Hackers earlier today. And basically my plan was nibble in these clusters. So what you do is when you see this type of thing and a possible reversal on your oscillator, you can nibble in these types of areas here. You just pick little bits at a time. You don't go aggressive, because remember, this thing can turn against you and fall over. So you nibble in those types of zones, little bits. Then if there's a hard break and there's momentum, you are slightly ahead of the game. You can add to your SOL position. And then if the market turns bullish, then you get that nice run to these higher levels. So in terms of SOL now, if you want to have a crack at this, you can see there might be a final push here on these oscillators. Again, not looking for too much, a few percent. If there is one more push on the oscillators, you're looking for something along these lines. So you can nibble around 126 down to about 120, 123. Anywhere in that type of region is your nibble zone. When you get that pop, you're going to add to your SOL position, and you want to ride this to 132. You want to ride this to 137. Those are your upside targets. Again, not looking for much on SOL, because this might be the start of our journey to the downside. Remember, if this plan is going to play out, you're probably going to get a SOL rejection at one of these levels. Now, 137 looks absolutely banger up here. Look at that trend as well. So if you do get that pump there, that's probably going to be a beautiful short zone as well for you on SOL. So 132, 137 upside. In terms of support, if you're looking for a DGen play, your DGen support is 125. So that's a DGen stop loss. It's probably going to be about 1.8% risk. 125. Your more relaxed stop loss is going to be a close under 122. Okay, so look out. I've put a note here on this chart. I said on weakness, look for this. It says top hunt. Look for the stop hunt in this area. So remember, if they come a bit lower, sometimes they want to grab some stops before they bounce it again. So that is why you try and look for a candle close under that low. So 122 is your next reasonable stop area. That's going to be about, say, from here, it's going to be about 3.5%. give or take. Okay, and then in terms of lower time frame, your degen risk is 1%. Okay, so candle close under 125 or candle close under 122 are your potential plans there for Sol. And you can see I've got this one rolling at the moment now on LBank. And you can see I've got some bonk here. I've got 𝗬𝗰 also from earlier. I've got PEPE. I'm getting fucking rinsed in PEPE. S as well. I forgot my stop loss last week. I was getting fucking smashed on this thing. I just refuse to close it. This thing must bounce. Okay?
Dude, and then get it out sometime. Or you have to cut it off. Bro. I brought these for you. I brought these for you, man. I brought these for you. Don't worry. I've got these. You can cut it off.
I mean, you know what? I was trying to sit on the beach and trying to fucking manage this stuff. Anyway, so that's what's going on at the moment, okay? On LBank. And yeah, so that's the game plan there on those two guys. Now, just a reminder, anybody who hasn't traded LBank yet, they are giving away a 50% deposit bonus for trading on LBank. So your first deposit that you put there, if it's like $1,000, they're literally giving you $500 future bonus to trade, and it lasts 14 days. So make sure you use it, obviously, if they do give it to you. So that link is in the description under the show, okay, and including everything else we're going to talk about. So there it is: LBank, CoinX, BTC.C, WEX. It's all going down there for you guys. Okay, Chaos. Let me talk about 𝗬𝗰. Okay, cool. And then I want to hand over to you. And Auto World says can't wait until Banter Bubbles is 400%. What? 400% up
for everything. Yeah, me too. Me too.
Fuck. I mean, I can't remember what that feels like. Okay, all I see is just bear everywhere. Yeah. Okay, guys, here we go. Here's 𝗬𝗰, and you will see this the similar pattern on all of these altcoins all over the place. So there's pick your altcoin. I bet you whatever alt you are watching, unless it's like a few exotics, has something like this: rising trend has been lost. Okay, now potential short-term bounces. If there are potential short-term bounces, what happens next? Where does it go? So in terms of 𝗬𝗰 on the 2 hour, this is a prime example here. And you can see I'm short-term long on 𝗬𝗰, looking for a push into 2.43, looking for a push into 2.58. That is the maximum for me. I'm not looking for more than that. We're looking for a short-term push and then a rejection, bang, or a push and then a rejection, bang, into that zone, and then a little bit more downside. So not getting excited on these things. Bearish for me, okay? Looking for lower highs, and then obviously higher up here, and this was our short zone from last week sometime, 2.78, that type of region. That is another high conviction short zone there, 2.78. That's an absolute banger. Look at that 50-day MA coming into play. So if you are long 𝗬𝗰, you can see I'm long 𝗬𝗰. What is your risk? Okay, if you go in long 𝗬𝗰 now, your risk is 4.7%. So you got to do that calculation on how much leverage you want to use, because that is your most reasonable stop. Now, you can obviously, if you have filthy degen and you're trading 20x, 30x, those types of things, you're trying to scalp, well, obviously there'll be different stops on 5-minute candles and 15-minute candles. That's a separate game plan. In terms of reasonable stop zones, 4.7% is the most reasonable that I can give you at the moment in terms of 𝗬𝗰. You can see it's at a strong bounce here at the moment. And then we're looking at 2.43, 2.58 as absolute best. I mean, fuck, I don't know what Trump would have to say at 2.78, but that's a big short zone. Now, in terms of the oscillator, you can see we've got a little reversal print here, and Chaos is about to show you a couple of short-term bounces as well on some of these tokens as well, and you're going to see that it's across the board. Some of them are looking short-term, like we could get some kind of bounce. So we're just trying to keep it very simple here. Remember, don't take everything you see, okay? Professor says 𝗬𝗰 unlock coming. Yes, don't take everything you see on your screen here. Don't go not ape into every setup we give you. Pick one or two and have a go. Make sure you have your risk management in place, and then you're good. But you can see the overall sentiment here is a little bit bearish in terms of the charts. Okay, Chaos, give us some stuff And what am I taking? Am I taking this tower?
I think so, but I'm just going to say before we get started, you just made a very valid point about just taking maybe one or two, maybe low leverage, maybe spot in some cases. Guys, my leverage wallet has got wrecked for some weeks, on and off. Obviously, made a lot back. My spot wallet, however, sometimes you go into drawdown for some time, but it is very much doing a lot better. So just there's a lot to be said about that, and we're pushing that really hard in Chart Hackers, guys. So, you know, obviously if you're part of the 20% club, you'll know what we're doing. But yeah, it'd be good to go on the journey with some of the guys from here as well. So we've just popped up the links in the description, guys.
Yeah, nice.
Okay.
So just remember, the key here is the market's been super choppy. Like, guys haven't had the most amazing time. There were a couple of days last week where it ripped, but then ever since then, unless you were sitting in some of the shorts, it's been an absolute mess. Okay, so there's something to be said, especially for you new trader, for, you know, some spot trading, a little bit more relaxing. You can sleep at night, things like that. You can learn all about it in Hackers with us, and make money, travel, enjoy. It says she's swimming in 𝗬𝗎. Hopefully she's not getting rinsed in 𝗬𝗎. Okay, Chaos, here's your screen. Okay, what do we got? What do we got?
Solana. Just looking at Solana for you real quick. Just to say, Solana, similar sort of story to what I'm about to show you. We've got an upturn on the RSI. This is the 8 hour. Obviously, we're quite low towards the discount band, which is right the way down here. The equilibrium is back up where the money flow is at 200. So there is potential to get a bounce. We just need to see what candles print. Okay, here is the one for today. So I've got you 𝗏𝗏𝗀𝗀 or 𝗏𝗏𝗀𝗀, however you say it. Let me just turn some stuff off for a second.
I actually don't know how to say it.
However you say it, it's still a shit coin. Anyway, right, okay, so
okay.
Long term, we've obviously had this large zone of support, right? And we're actually really very much dipping into this now. Before we dig into any of the other indicators, the thing that kind of, I've already gone along on this, by the way, is we have got some wicks that have obviously wicked down, recovered, V-shaped recovery, and we've pushed up. Okay, every time we've wicked into this thing, we've recovered. Same again, we've wicked here, we've recovered. So we're now in this zone now. Let me just show you guys what it looks like a bit closer. We're in the zone. Was that the wick? Are we starting our V recovery? Let's take a look. So notably, this is the absolute discount zone. If you look at where we are as a whole, let me now turn off that. There you go. Premiums up here, equilibrium's here, discounts down here. We're in discount. The money flow point of control is back up at 440. I'm not sure we're going to see that just yet. On our chart prime indicators, we've got this quantum reactor, which has acted really nicely as resistance all the way down. Look, we've pinged it here, almost pinged it here. We've gone through, recovered, we've lost it, we've come down again. What I would like to see is a bounce from the discount. At the very least, this is a 50% move, guys, back up to the QR, the quantum reactor. So, you know, it may not look huge on this chart, but we can bring the order blocks up as well, and we can see where, oh, it's gone. There we go, it's back. We can see where the orders are. Guys, the liquidity, even to the first block from here, it's a 20% move. So, you know, just look at this thing. Let's just zoom out one final time, take a look at this and see where we've come from. We've come from 750 right the way down to this discount zone again. Our RSI is reset. We've got some reversal points to the upside. We're in the discount zone. We'd expect a bounce, even if it is a short-term bounce, like Dylan said. I am personally eyeing up recovering through this area here, then into the liquidity zone. Then we're actually going to meet this QR somewhere in the region of 312, and that, to be honest with you, ties up with taking out all of these candles. So initially, I'm already in this, Dylan. I jumped in just a little bit earlier at 218.
And what's your exit? So what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna take this trade on LBank, but I'm gonna make it isolated. Okay, so let me add this here. I'm gonna take an isolated trade now on LBank. So what I've done here, just so you guys know that the trading, you can select isolated or cross at the top. You see I've selected isolated. Okay, what is your exit plan? What is your entry? So you in already?
I'm in at 218.
Okay,
I'm about 11% up on my trade. To be honest with you, I'm targeting listen, this is quite hopeful, but 278. I'm not sure whether we'll get as high as that, But what
and
I plan,
what's your stop? So how much am I going to lose if I'm wrong?
This wick here is at 212. Now there's a second wick slightly further back on the 10th of March that is exactly 212 as well. Could this be a double bottom? If it could, I would say set your candle closure below let's say 211 to 210, and that would be a sensible stop.
Okay, so I'm going to set another buy order at 214. Okay, so in case we now wick lower, back to those lows to retest those lows.
Yeah.
Okay, now obviously there's a couple, you can see now it's got my order there. So now I've got a starter position order, and then we dip lower, I'm going to grab another order. Now there's a couple of ways you can do it. If you can actively watch your trades, then you can play that game where we wait for a candle close. Obviously sometimes that works against you, it increases the risk, but quite often you're going to avoid stops because it's going to drop lower down, grab stops, and then pump it straight back up. So it's a little game the market makers like to play. But for the sake of this, because I'm going to be going to bed in a couple of hours, I'm going to set a hard stop. So let's put a hard stop here, Chaos, 209. How does that sound to you?
Yeah, listen, you are, yeah, that's fine. I mean, if you, yeah, that's fine. That's below the wicks. Absolutely. Okay. Absolutely.
Okay, so what I'm doing here, guys, I'm trying to give it space to breathe. So if they come to the low, I don't want to stop exactly on the low, because what if they come and they stop hunt me and then they pump it back up? Okay, so you can see what I'm doing here. I'm leaving it room for a little stop hunt, and obviously it's calculated guess here as in how deep they could go, but there's the plan. Okay, so I've done an isolated trade. You can see the rest of my trades are crossed because I'm going long short, I'm hedging and doing all those things. Isolated trade for 𝗬, which means the money that I've invested in that trade now is the maximum I can lose on it because it's an isolated position. Okay, there we go. Okay, we locked in. Okay, what else you got?
Just very quickly, I've come down to the 3 hour on BitTensor just to take a closer look at it. One of the things that's quite encouraging is we've got some bullish divergence present on the oscillator. For people that don't know, the RSI is obviously facing up, whereas the price is coming down. We've also on the lower time frames had a turn as well. So we started to make a push on the oscillator, come back and retested, made this divergence, and now we're facing up again. As well as that, this cash flow has come down, and what we're now seeing is this is reversed. Is this the start of the next move up, which basically turns us green like so, and then we start to move? I'm hoping so, but on the smaller time frames, this is just showing us confluence and reasons to take the trade. So, you know, we'll see what happens with BitTensor. Okay?
Jim's got a question here. He says, how much leverage on the 𝗬 trade? So what I've done typically is I focus on the position sizing rather than the leverage, because I already know what my risk is. So now you can see I plugged in my stop at 209 and we've worked that out. So for the sake of this example, it's 10x margin. Okay, but for me, it was more focused on the position sizing rather than the leverage there. Okay, so hopefully that answers your question. For those of you that have, you know, a couple of questions like this that maybe don't know these types of answers, we have launched in Hackers our new Back to Basics channel. This is especially for guys that are interested in trading. You're intrigued, you're watching the show, you don't know where to start. Maybe you've just done my course or you're thinking about doing the course. Well, we've got a Back to Basics channel for you guys. We've got some of the teams sitting in there. They are geared to look after you guys, and there's no such thing as a silly question, and that is going to be your home. So you're going to be able to graduate out of that and then understand what some of our other traders are talking about in our trading zone and those types of things. So let's just, Mark is in the chat. Hello, sir. The absolute legend. I hope Mark is well. Okay, let me just show you this Back to Basics channel. As you can see, yeah, this is Hackers here in front of you. So Back to Basics is for anybody, even those of you that have been trading for a while and you got a couple of questions and things like that. There it is, Back to Basics. Okay, so we've got our team, Kimmy and Chris are dedicated there for you guys. They are available for you in that chat. You can tag them and things, and then we've got every team member has committed on a rotation basis once a week. We're going to be doing a Zoom session where we tackle a basics topic of our choice. So for example, you know, I love fibs and I love the VWAPs and those types of things. So I'll do a series on those in terms of beginner stuff. DJ and Dave might do something about how he ladders into his swing trades, things like that. Trader Jay might do something where he's trading the orb and you know, all these other things that he uses. What's this? Spaceman?
Spaceman BTC. But I'll tell you what, I'm just looking. Jay did have a banging stage earlier, and he's now doing multiple stages a week. And I'm not without sounding too crazy, I sound like a bit of a fanboy sometimes. Even us, we suffer from this. I had 3 banging shorts earlier. And to be fair, 2 of the traders, the scalpers actually, Renier and Jay, have given different things on Euro USD, on gold. And it's been a really good day. We caught all of the shorts together and Jay had a banging stage. So
nice.
Yeah, there's a lot going on right now. There's a lot going on.
Nice. Okay, Chaos, give us alpha. Give us setups here.
So this is from the 20% club in Hackers. This is just before I dive into the chart, just on a very long-term daily outline. You guys can see that we have had this range on DOT. Now, before Dylan slates me for trading DOT, because I know what you're thinking, man. Guys, this is a 200+% range. Now, will DOT ever go here again? Probably. If it does, then great. We've been here so many times before. Look where we've come from, right the way up there. Okay, so now that we know, or we assume, unless the ultimate shitcoin rug pull occurs, we're going to go up again. Let's take a look at DOT, guys. So let's just fit you on the 4-hour time frame with DOT. I've got no indicators loaded at the moment, just to give you a bare look at the candles. Now let's start to load stuff in. We were overbought. We were oversold. The oscillator has now started to make its way back up. On top of that, we've just, on this candle, guys, literally you're getting this fresh off the candle, got some bullish divergence which has formed. Now, we can see that all of the orders are above. Okay, I mean, not all of them. There will be some below. The bulk of the orders, guys, are to the upside. Okay, so now that we've had a look at that, let's get a feeling of what's actually going on. Let's load the indicators up. So what I've done is I've taken the opportunity to load in our point of control for the money flow. We've got some fair value gaps loaded. This is all on Chart Prime's indicators. And I've actually loaded in the quantum reactor from the Pro Plus indicator. Everything's to the upside, guys. So what I'm essentially looking to do, okay, is I'm looking for this short. Let me just hide that for you so you can see it. I want, if you can see, we get buyers, we go in. Okay, we get green candles. The candles turn red. We get the short, we come down. What I'm looking for now is these engulfing bullish candles again and again, and the take profit from the shorts to play out. And then along with the oscillators, which is now making its way up, and the fact that the cash flows turn to the upside. Look what happened last time when we got upwards turn. We got this move here, guys. All right. So what we're now looking for is perhaps just another dip, a single wick into this zone. Get your entries in around 3.9, 3.8, something like that. Your stops will be below this cluster here, which is about 3.81. So it's very, very much a low risk. The risk it would be if you got in somewhere here, 1% to 2%. Maybe if you're a bit further down, you'd be risking 4%. Guys, DOT is a fantastic coin to spot trade. Okay, so then you have no liquidation hunt risk. We're looking for the short to play out and reverse. All of these reversal signs, which are bullish engulfing candles. We've got hammers in there. We've got TPs from the short. At some point here, I'm expecting a buy to print, okay, somewhere in this region, all right? And that would line up perfectly with the fact that this is moving to the upside. And then what we'd expect to see is the candles change color. Okay, we'd like to see them going green like we've got all the way up there. And then we want to start to ride this thing up. Now, where do we go? Well, initially, just take a breath for a moment. If I draw some lines from, let's say, to encompass this zone here, which is all of the times we've wicked as resistance into this point. And guys, this is nowhere near the 200% move, okay? This is literally from here.
You love this stock.
Oh, yeah, but the thing is, you can really go into analysis with good depth. This is just a 30% move, guys. There's a long way to go afterwards. So my initial zone, okay, I want to see the price action push up above the quantum reactor, see it come down, test it as support, take out all of these candles all the way up, all of these imbalances. And my initial zone, I mean, looking at this, there's obviously a secondary zone here where we've wicked through multiple times. So initially, I'm looking for an entry somewhere around the edge of this box. That will give you a 15% move for TP1. And then what I'm looking for is a push up here for probably a 30% move to TP2. All of the time, the oscillator will be moving its way up. The cash flow should be moving its way up. Guys, this is very, very easy invalidations. Okay, what will happen is we either reject off here and we move our stop loss up and we stop out in profit. If we start to reject off the quantum reactor, and then we follow the candles as they come. But to be honest with you, this should play out over the next 3 days, maybe 2 days. So we'll keep an eye on it.
Extremely juicy.
Very, very nice, sir. Okay, let me get into. Let's give you guys some bonk. Let's give you some hype. Let's give you some peppy quickly, and then Chaos is going to prep the next one. I know what he's got. Okay, I know what he's got. It might be something worth looking at. Let's talk hype. So I'm kicking myself. I missed this one. So I got 𝗬𝗰 and I got 𝗀. Hype was looking the same. Look at that. It looks exactly like that 𝗀 chart. Look at that consolidation. And then you're looking for that little pop to the upside. So hype is a nice mover. If you are trying to trade it now, a little bit of risk. You can see why this is an issue. Look here, horizontals, resistance. Look at that resistance in the way. So what you ideally want to see is obviously some kind of support in this region for hype. So if you are jumping in now, your risk is to the downside of the second breakout candle here. So let me just show you this region over here. So if you're jumping in here now, just understand how deep this can go and the type of pain you can be in if you're wrong. So at least 5%, okay? 5% on hype minimum. Alternatively, it's about 9% to the downside. And that is why I'm saying I'm kicking myself, because I'm not jumping in it now because the risk is a little bit high for me at the moment. So if you want to have a go, your safest I can give you is 12.5 as your exit plan. So 12.5 as your stop loss potentially on hype. Then where can this thing go? So obviously, we know last week we had a lot of FUD around this. There was, what did they call that? Chaos, like a hack. They try to wreck it, basically. They try to send it to zero.
I'm not sure precisely what happened, but this was a planned attack. Second time, I think, isn't it? They've had another go at this thing.
Yeah, so people are trying to, what do they call it? Bad actors. They're trying to rinse this thing. They're actually trying to break it.
Was this the jelly thing, or is that something else?
Yeah,
it was.
Whales buying jelly or shorting it. I don't know. Guys, I actually don't understand the dynamics of it, but they try to break it. So what happens now? Well, in terms of hype, you can see rising trend, a little bit bearish now. We've lost the trend. You can call that a retest. Now we've dropped lower. So if we do pump, I would say look out. 14.2, very careful up there. 15.5, extremely careful up there. That is most likely going to be your short zone up in that type of region, 15.5. So I'm going to mark this one here as a possible short area. Now remember, when you are looking for shorts and things like that, the simplest way to do it is the same way that you look for longs. You look for divergences and you look for reversal prints on support for long. And when you're looking for shorts, you're looking for reversal prints at resistance. Okay, so you want to tie them in together. So ideally, that is going to be your reaction zone. That is going to be the zone where something happens. You get some kind of activity and then that falls over. So that for me on hype, guys, 14.2, 15.5, big danger up there if this thing keeps ripping. Okay, now talking about ripping, that FARTCOIN, fuck, we missed that by a couple of cents, I think. And Ian says, what is the indicator that I just showed? Ian, you can do my Xcelerator course and you're going to get all of this stuff. Okay, so just sign up for the course. My workshop is tomorrow. I'm going to show you a couple of things as well. Sign up for the course, bro. And you're going to get a full breakdown on all of them, including instructions on how I use that oscillator. Okay, that oscillator is absolute banger. Okay, so there's your hype breakdown. Remember, all these charts, what are the advantages of being hackers? There's all these charts go straight into hackers directly after the show. Okay, so that's where you can find things like hype. It's going to be waiting there for you. Now, let's talk PEPE and bonk quickly, and then I obviously got FARTCOIN, and then I want to see Chaos's final setup for us. Now, where have you seen this before? Oh, on every other setup that I've pretty much shown you today. Rising trend, lost. We are now bearish. What happens? Look for the bearish retest and then a sell. That's typically what we are seeing now in the market. So does this mean PEPE can go a little bit higher? This is PEPE on the 2 hour. Yes, look at that. Oscillator wants to push a little bit higher. You might get a situation where there's divergence and then that thing falls over, and you might find that that divergence comes into play somewhere in that type of region potentially. Okay, so that's what we're looking for. Upside on PEPE. I just want to note all the FIB traders, look at that 618, look at that kiss, look at that. Look at that.
Juicy,
Savage.
juicy, extremely juicy.
It's so beautiful. Okay, so PEPE, guys, 77, danger. 83, danger. Looking for shorts in that type of region. 83, that's your potential higher conviction short zone that I would pay attention to. 83, 77, guys. So in terms of longs, if you are going long now on these types of things, you need to understand your risk is probably going to be a little move back into your horizontal. So what you can do is break these things up into a more degen basis. So for example, you can see here, this is the 15 minutes. And if you are going long, where can you put your stop as a degen? Well, what you can see here is oscillator wants to turn over on the 15. So that might tell you, you know, this thing might dip a little bit. Where's your safe zones for stops? 71, 69. Okay, those are your reasonable degen zones, okay, where we keep this thing alive and it stays bullish. So 71 and 69, those are your potential degen stop zones. Okay, so watch those areas there. And then obviously the lower the leverage and things like that, the more room and breathing room you have to play with these tokens, and then the deeper you can send it. But I know some of you guys are animals out there, and I respect that, and that's why I'm giving you the degen levels. Okay, Chaos, give us your trade, and then I'm going to do FARTCOIN, and then we got to wrap it up.
Nice. So this isn't just my trade. Before we came live on air, guys, I put a note.
Oh. Sorry, Chaos. 30. We'll look at move. I'll prep it now. Okay, that was one of the trades from last week from DJ Dave. Okay, we're going to look at it now. 30. It's coming. Okay, Chaos, go.
Right. Okay, so guys, if you're in Chart Hackers, you got the option to request some charts earlier. This was requested by one of our users. I think it was Luke, if I'm not mistaken. Spoke to the guys before the show. What do you want to see today? They recommended this. They requested this rather. And then I actually gave them an indication of what I was going to say. So the idea is, hopefully they get the info. So I've got AVAX for you on the 4 hour. Okay, now the thing that really interests me again, this 4 hour candle that we're currently in is a really telling candle, because once again, we've had the print. Okay, we started to make our way up, came down slightly on the oscillator to retest. We've had bullish divergence print again. RSI goes up, price comes down, and we've just gone green, and we've just literally started the reversal from this down move to the upside. As well as that, the cash flow wave, you've really got to dig in deep to these guys to actually understand what you're looking at. The cash flow or the money flow wave, whatever you want to call it, it looks flat there. If you actually zoom in on the thing, we're going positive now. So are we getting this where it pushes up and it pushes up and it pushes up? We obviously hope so. We've just had the blue spot, which is printed as well. Obviously, we will have to wait and see what the candles say later. Zooming into the price action for you. I've drawn this zone out just to show you the yellow box, which we've respected for quite some time. Okay, just to show you, we have been in this for quite some time. We've been through it. It's been an area of support multiple times. Just take us back to the time frame. There we go. So on the 4 hour, once again, everything is to the upside. We've already had an order block print from this low. We've got to move up. We've got a retracement. We took out the wicks in the order block, and now we've started this move that I was speaking about. Everything is to the upside. To the point of control is a 10% move. To the first fair value gap is 11%. To the first order block is a 20% move. And that's when we take out the high. So the question is, how high do we go? We don't know yet. The way that I will be playing this, and I'm going to speak to the guys in the 20% club about this probably straight after this YouTube session, is we're going to take this trade. We're going to push up. As the trade moves up, we're going to start to increase or move up our stop loss with it. And the idea is, if we're in spot, we're in spot. If we're in a low leverage, we're in a low leverage. The idea is, as we take these candles out and we start to take out the FVGs, the money flow, make our way up to the order blocks, the stop loss comes up with us and we win the trade. That's the idea. So what you guys are getting here, in my opinion, we'll have to wait and see, is the absolute earliest sign that this was a wick to the downside and we're pushing up out of it. Obviously, guys, know your risk. From this wick down to this wick is still a 15% move. This is why spot trading, especially on a token like AVAX, in my opinion, is the way to go. Okay, there we go.
Very nice, sir. AVAX.𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏. Nice. Okay, let's talk move for 30 quickly, and then I want to talk FARTCOIN for you guys. We've got to cover the farts. Okay, so move was a trade from last Friday. We nailed the what did we get? It was Zeta, the short. Absolutely printed, and then move started printing, and then actually started reversing. Look at the moves that we got out of move. We got a little bit of something there, and then it started falling over. So this was on Saturday. They pumped it up, and then they've absolutely obliterated everybody. So Ferdy, what I can give you here, okay, well, the information I've got in front of me, 4 hours turning up, but I don't have divergence yet. But in terms of the 2 hour, I've got double divergence prints. I've got multiple reversals. There's a possibility that this cash flow is printing a higher low here as well. That might want to go higher. Now, in terms of where this thing can go to the downside, it's possible, okay, that 37.38 is going to come into play. Look at that wick now. Okay, we've come all this way. 37.38 is possible. In terms of short term, there could be something here. So 395 is going to be your support. 395. If there is a short-term move, don't hang around too long. Look at something like that, maybe 43 at best, and then maybe something a little bit lower. So 395 is the best level I can give you, and then we're looking at 36 and 37 on move for you on 30. Okay, so that's pretty much how I see that playing out. Now, move is one of the tokens that the Trump group bought. Obviously, they bought a ton of shit coins, but we know they bought that thing, and it may or may not help it. But that's the information that I can give you now at the moment on move. Okay, so play it safe. That'll be in Chart Hackers for you guys. Now, let's talk some farts quickly, and let's try and see what's going on. So FARTCOIN is actually one of the most traded tokens out there. It's got one of the highest volumes that you're going to see in terms of trading. I don't know why. It's like the new PopCat. We used to trade PopCat so much, and now FARTCOIN is actually replacing that for us. And in terms of FARTCOIN respecting TA, it's generally a beautiful thing. But now, because there's so many traders trading it, I believe they start front running certain areas. So we've seen a couple of FARTCOIN scenarios now in the last week or so where zones are getting front run a little bit. It's like everyone's diving in these zones. And this is like another prime example. So I've been teeing up FARTCOIN on the guys in the team know about this. I dropped these charts in our WhatsApp group. When was it? Friday, Thursday.
All the time.
Yeah. But I mean, I said, I'm waiting for this. Yeah. 37. We had the 50-day MA, the 618, the trend, the horizontals. It's an absolute banger, this 37. And we've dropped into it. We front ran that. So anybody trading farts at the moment, major support at 37. Unfortunately, it was front ran. So in terms of your next level, 34. So 34, 37 for FARTCOIN. The oscillator on the 2 hour says bullish divergence, reversal print. It might want to go a little bit higher. Fahad, yeah, it's not for everybody. The stench of it when it goes against you, it's not for everyone. And remember, FARTCOIN loves a VWAP as well. So let's just see if we can find a little VWAP rejection zone here on this thing. You see, this thing could reject quite easily. Okay, let me just give you guys this level here. Let's just look here quickly. Woo! Okay, so 48, guys, 48. I wouldn't hang on past 48. If you're sitting in a fart, it could be a wet one past 48. So just be careful up there. What are you laughing at, sir?
You, sir, you.
Okay, so 48. That could be a potential short zone as well. So what you want to see though for FARTCOIN, guys, is you want to then dial into maybe a 1 hour time frame, maybe 30 minutes on your oscillator when you get that reversal. So you're going to look for this pump on FARTCOIN, then you're going to look for that divergence. You want to see that divergence play on your oscillator. If you get it around about this area, then you've got a short on for you at FARTCOIN. 484 to 5. 484 to 5, give or take. That's a potential short zone on FARTCOIN. Big support, guys. 37 is where it's at. Big support at 37. Okay, Chaos. Thank you, Captain. Chaos is going away for a week or two, but we'll hold the fort there for him. I'm sure he'll drop a couple of things in hackers, so enjoy your trip, sir.
Thank you, man.
We'll see you later. Guys, good luck. Big week ahead. As you know, this is only Monday, and remember, if Mondays are too green, it's sometimes a bad sign for Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. We can get absolutely rinsed. So I think the bull in me wants to see a quick move up here, then a nice hard sell-off, and just clean out some of the filth so that we can maybe pump later on this week. Okay, guys, take it easy. We'll see you tomorrow. Same time, same price. Later.